Leaving a place that has been called home for many years always seems hard. It feels like giving away a piece of oneself, tearing out something that's vital. But as I thought about what I wanted to say to you tonight, I realized that that just isn't true. We really can't give away a piece of ourselves, whether that is each of us as an individual or of the community that is Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. At most, we will change or expand what has been, but it won't cease to exist because we move it to another place. Things do change, and for the most part, we don't like change. But that's all it is, mutability, not non-existence. There are people who were here when I came to this community 14 years ago who aren't here anymore. Some of them have left this life, and some of them have merely left this place. But all of them are still remembered, and what they did lives on. There are people who were here before I came that I never knew, and they too are remembered. I've heard stories about them and their wonderful escapades with this community. There are people who have come to Orange Coast since I've left. And most exciting of all, there are people who aren't here yet. They're on their way. But none of us know them. They are the possibilities for the future. And they too are part of this community. We are living our seventh principle, the interdependent web of all existence, which is not only everywhere, but stretches from the distant past far into the future. Where we are, who we are at any moment, is only a small piece of what really matters. And when we gathered this evening, and I looked at the first slide that was on the screen, I thought about the fact that we each make our mark. I think it was when you were president, Ken, that a small group of us was assembled and asked to review our mission statement. And the group was headed by a man named Craig Anderson, who is one of those people who is no longer with us. But Nancy Lockery and I were in the group, and Gus Rath, my husband, who is no longer with us, was part of the group, and Maurice Giss, who is still with us, although I don't see him here tonight. I don't remember if there was anyone else who was on the group, but as we started talking and looking at this long, turgid mission statement we had, that we were tasked with revising, we were trying to decide what to do. And Maurice said, this was before websites, hardly anyone had one, and Maurice picked up the phone book and he said, what we need is a statement from that could be in the yellow pages. Everyone had statements in the yellow pages, which meant it needed to be short. And much to Craig's consternation, because he wanted to deal with this long, turgid statement, we spent the year haggling and hassling and arguing and discussing. And we came up with 9 words. And Nancy and I, at least, have stood strong many times for those 9 words. They are at least one of the marks I'm proud of. You probably can say them with me. Seeking truth, building just communities, caring for one another. That's one of the marks. That's one of the marks that we left. And someday those words will change. Some other group will choose different words, but they are part of our history. We've done much good as part of the web of all existence in the 14 years since I first knew Orange Coast, not the least of which is in terms of the Unitarian Universalist ministry. Soon after I came to join you, we sent our first soul off to seminary. And Beth Johnson, who was on the search committee that brought me here, entered Claremont School of Theology. She now serves our church in Vista, south of here, and carries the legacy of Orange Coast with her into the world. Dale Osborne, our first intern, has created Chalice Oak, a consortium of UU leaders who are helping to grow our faith tradition by supporting individuals and congregations who are leading new projects throughout the Southland. Dale was followed by Ann Schranz, who was a Star King student and now serves Montclair, the congregation in that town, which is north of Los Angeles, and is another strand in the web of influence that we have woven. Kent Doss, our neighbor to the south at Laguna Beach, was our next intern and is a colleague I hold dear. 2 weeks ago, he and I participated in the ordination of Angela Henderson, who was a member of this congregation while she was a Claremont student. And as Kent and I entered the sanctuary for the procession, he was assigned to be behind me in line, and he quipped under his breath, "After all these years, and I'm still following you." A.J. Blackwood did his field study for Claremont in this congregation, and he was our student minister, helping to create our young adult group. He has gone on to found the Progressive Interfaith Alliance, an organization for liberal clergy in Orange County, once again spreading our saving message beyond the limits of 1259 Victoria Street. Patrick McLaughlin was the final intern while I was your minister. He just received fellowship, and so he will be now in search, looking for a congregation where he can carry forward the influence of Orange Coast. And the future always beckons. Summer Albiati Krikesh and Jason Cook are doing internships now with the support of this, their home congregation, and we all know they're going to be fine UU ministers in the near future. The elastic web is being stretched and impacted by Orange Coast UU Church far and wide. The web is strong, and our strand in it is powerful. We give and we receive no matter where we are. And no matter where we are, we carry with us our memories. We held dinner parties here. We created rituals, we planted gardens, we celebrated solstices and sunsets. We dedicated babies, consecrated marriages, honored lives that had completed, sorrowed with one another over losses, and experienced joy in so many ways. We studied together, argued theology, marched for justice, cooked for those who needed to be fed, held auctions, readers' theater, concerts, and so much more. We celebrated 50 years of community here. Our grandchildren and their children will celebrate 100 years someplace else. But the memories will remain no matter what the place. When I had been with you for about a year, we had a big redecorating project. Now, I can tell you that is the bane of any minister's existence. But it was necessary. Remember, Tony? It was necessary. We were looking pretty tired and kind of shabby at that point. There were folks who were so sad because we were going to change the look of their beloved sanctuary. So one Sunday, before the great renovation, we passed out number 2 pencils, and I invited everyone to think of their fondest hopes and dreams for this community, and then to get up and to go write those hopes and dreams on the walls, because they and all of us would know that even when those walls were covered with paint, those hopes and dreams would still live, not just in our hearts, but also in this place. We didn't need to be able to see them to know that they were there, alive and well. For a couple of years, one of my benedictions included the line, "These walls are a silent testimony to the hopes and dreams of this community." So tonight, I want to tell you that this building, this plot of land, is not Orange Coast UU Church. It is not even the history of Orange Coast UU Church. And it is definitely not the future of Orange Coast UU Church. Those things, along with the hopes and dreams of OCUUC, you hold in your hearts. They do not reside in any place, but in you, in me, and in us, in this beloved community that we create wherever we may be. They are things unseen, but they are real. They are the interdependent web of all existence, which we, praise be, are an inescapable part of.